Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be in the house of the Lord today and to fellowship with you all. I'm actually really happy to have the opportunity to speak to you this morning. And I will be sharing from Psalm 34, verses 7 to 10. Psalm 34, 7 to 10. And I'll be speaking to you about the guarantees of God's provision. So I'll just read for you. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints. For those who fear him have no lack. The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. The guarantees of God's provision. So as homeowners and people who rent, I'm sure you know that buying household appliances is pretty costly. I don't really know, I haven't had that experience yet, living at home with my parents, but household appliances cause you to dig into your pocket, do they not? Okay. So before you buy an appliance, whether it be a dishwasher, a washing machine, a cooker, you usually have questions that you might ask wherever the store is. If it's at Curry's, you might ask them, what's in it for me? If I buy this particular one, what's in it for me? Why should I get this one? What are the benefits? What are the bonuses? Do I get anything extra with it? And what makes this one better than any other one? Most of us aren't quick to just hand over our hard-earned cash, and my dad is such a good example. If my dad, say it's time for your contract to be renewed for your mobile phone, my dad will spend at least a month planning out and looking and researching the different types of mobile phones, comparing them, see what this one has that this one doesn't, how do they weigh up against each other, what are the extras that this one has that his old one didn't have, why should he change it, why should he upgrade? If I'm gonna spend more money, I need to know what I'm getting out of it, right? Okay, so we need something solid before deciding. We don't just say, you know what, new phone, there we go, I'm not gonna look about it, just pick it up and buy at the same time. We need some sort of solid information, possibly a guarantee maybe. And I was looking around on the internet, and the first one that came up to me was Dyson. Now, Dyson have such a strong guarantee because they really believe in their product. Now, a guarantee usually reflects the measure of confidence the manufacturer has in what they're providing. So the more you get out of that guarantee, the more confident the people who are presenting that item or product or service to you are in what they're giving. Now, Dyson, when you read, I was like, ooh, you get all of this. But that's because they believe that you're not going to return it. Once you buy that, you're keeping it, you're not returning it. So you'll have a guarantee with what you're buying, so you can feel confident in the product or the service. Now, from the scripture that I'm going to read to you, David identifies 3 guarantees of God's provision. So we understand that making the decision to hand over your life as making the decision to hand over your hard-earned cash isn't easy. But David gives 3 guarantees of God's provision. And the first is, it's secure. So in verse 7, it says, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. It's secure. So when we think about security, one of the definitions I found was the state of feeling safe, stable, and free from fear or anxiety. Now, all major establishments, whether it be a place of work, like my mom's workplace, for example, solid security. You come through the first door. To get through the first door, you've got to buzz in. They've got to let you in. And then before you pass the reception area, you've got to sign in. They need to know who you are, where you're going. Then there's a second door to go through. It's secure. My university, you've got barriers on the back doors, barriers on the front doors. You've got a security guard at the main reception. And to get through, if you don't have your swipe card, you ain't getting in. And if you don't have your card, you have to go through security, write down your student number, your name, and then they will give you a pass. That means that you can walk through the university happily. But without that, you're not getting in. If you're a visitor, you need to confirm why you're at the university. Otherwise, you're not getting in. It's secure. Birmingham Children's Hospital, I actually have the privilege of working there. And again, it's secure. There are cameras throughout. You've got security floating around. Their presence is felt. When you go to a ward, you can't just walk in onto a ward. You've got the buzzers, and it's got a camera there. And before you're let in, they ask you, "Hi, how can I help?" And you tell them who you are and who you've come to see. If the child's name who you have mentioned is not on that board, you're not getting in. If they can't confirm who you are, you're not getting in. So it's secure. Places of leisure, if you go to a leisure centre, if you go to a club, a bar, if you go to the cinemas, security is everywhere. But why? Why is it secure? Why do they need so much security? The purpose of security is because people need to feel safe where they are. And what makes these places secure to us is, one, knowing that all bases are covered, so the CCTV all around the place. You've got floating security guards. And then two, knowing that if something did happen, help would come. Now, how does this apply to the scripture? We are secure in God's hands. He has all bases covered. Like the CCTV, he has all bases covered. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. He's powerful and present in danger, and he delivers them. Not only does he encamp around us, but he delivers us. So we're secure with him, but then if anything was to happen, or if we were to be in harm's way, he would deliver us from danger, deliver us from harm. So the first thing about God's provision is it's secure. The second is it's satisfying. Now, verse 8 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." Taste and see that the Lord is good. So for something to satisfy us, it has to appeal to our senses. We know we've got 5 senses. You've got your seeing, your hearing, your tasting, your touching, and your smell. And when I was thinking about this and how to sort of explain it a little to you, I thought about food, because I love food. So it's a good way to explain. And my problem, I'll be honest, is the mere sight or look of a certain type of food. I will decide straight away I don't like it. I haven't checked it out, I haven't tasted it. I will look at it and say, you know what, don't like that. Examples, chicken foot soup. The chicken foot's just in there, like that doesn't look appealing to me. Soursop, my dad loves soursop, but looking at it, you open it up, it just looks all slimy and no. Prawns, king prawns, especially when they're not cooked, like the sight of them, they don't look very appealing. Now, to get me to even attempt to try these, there has to be some sort of influence. And I'll just take the soursop. I'm sorry, Dad, but I'll just think you're the best example. I'll take the soursop. Now, my dad was so confident that once I tried that soursop, just a little bit, that I'd love it. And I think there are 3 things that I would say helped to influence my decision to actually go from saying, don't like the look of that, to actually giving it a taste. First was his visible love for the fruit. You can tell he loves it. Before he even puts it in his hand, the sight of it, you can see his eyes light up. His practical experience, verbalized. So him talking to me about it. I've been eating this from 19, how long? I love it. It tastes good. It's sweet, and I can't get enough of it. If I eat one, I've got to eat another, and if I eat another, I've got to eat another. And his practical encouragement. So just try it. Just add it to, eat it with this, and you might like it a bit more. Or it's sweet. You like sweet things. Give it a try. And to be honest, I tried it and my mind changed. From going from looking at it and saying, no, don't like that, to actually giving it a try, my mind was changed. And what happened in between looking and deciding no, and tasting and saying, you know what, this is actually a good fruit, the influence was what was in the middle. Matthew Henry says that by taste and sight, we both make discoveries and have enjoyment. So I saw it, so I was aware of the fruit, but I tasted it. So only until I tasted it could I enjoy the fruit. So for us now, we must be willing to try. We can't experience the goodness of God until we try him. We can't just say, you know what, I can see people are saying this about God, or I can see he's done good things in your life, but I'm not willing to try myself. We're not going to experience the fullness of his goodness if we don't try and get into an experience with him for ourselves. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. And if you look at the scripture and the way how the words are in order, taste comes before sight. Oh, taste and see, not see, then taste. And the way how I explained to you, I saw first and made my decision. But David's saying, taste first and see. Until you taste, you cannot experience the goodness that I have experienced. And similar to my dad, David was confident that the experience that he had would become our experience if we just tried like he did. His love, like my dad's love for the fruit, his love for God was visible from the beginning. Even from the beginning of chapter 34, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. He's speaking about someone who he loves, and we know that Psalms previous and Psalms that come after, David is displaying his love for God. It was visible. People knew it. He loved the Lord. And he spoke out of experience. Taste and see that the Lord is good. I'm telling you to do it because I have done it myself and I have experienced his goodness. You experience his goodness. You taste. And he encourages us. He's telling us to do it. He's not just telling us he has done it. He's telling us we should do it too. Why should we do it? The latter clause of verse 8 says, blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Blessed, happy, fortunate. You will be happy. You will be in good fortune. You will be in an enviable position if you try him, if you go into that experience, if you trust him. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. So the provision of the Lord is one. Do you remember what the first one was? Have you been listening? It's secure. Number one, it's secure. Two, it's satisfying. It is good to you. And three, it's sure. Verse 9 to 10. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints, for those who fear him have no lack. The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints. So I just want to focus on the word fear for a moment, because initially, if you read that, and you don't understand what that word means, you will miss the whole thing. Because I skipped over it earlier because the word fear was actually in verse 7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who what? Who fear him. But it appears again in verse 9. Fear the Lord, you his saints. Now, usually when there's a reiteration, when there's repetition, it's usually for emphasis or for clarity. And the universal definition, if you ask anyone on the street, what does fear mean? It's usually an emotion that is induced by the threat of harm or danger or even pain. But the scriptural definition here refers to reverence. Fear the Lord, reverence him. And a reverence is it prompts a care not to offend. And looking further into this word, there were two aspects of it that I found. One, it's servile. So it's submissive, it's humble and willing to serve. Fear the Lord. It's filial, so it's loving, it's affectionate, it endeavors to please. These are the aspects of reverence. This is what fear means in this context. So we need to be submissive. We need to be humble. We need to choose to serve God. We need to love him. And we need to desire to please him. Our endeavors should be to please him. And from these things, we can be sure that he will meet our needs. Fear the Lord, you his saints. Be submissive, you his saints. Be humble, you his saints. Desire to please him, you his saints. For those who do these things have no lack. Verse 10 says, the young lions suffer want and hunger. Now, before even moving on to that, look at the animal that it gives as an illustration, the lion. So you think about a lion, you see greatness, you see royalty, it's proud, it's strong, it's superior, it's known to be the greatest beast of the field. They called the lion the king of the jungle. And to be fair, from those explanations that I've given, those characteristics, you think the lion is in a very good position, a solid position. When you think about kings of old, or like even when you see people that are esteemed high, like even like emperors and stuff, they actually use the lion to show who they are. Like when you see like around their thrones, they may have a statue of a lion, they may have images of that. It's known, it's a royal, it's got like a royal connotation to it. It controls territory. It's a very powerful creature. But when we look again at the passage, it says the young lions suffer want and hunger. So the strong, the superior, the greatest beast of the field suffers want and hunger. So here we notice that even the efforts of the strongest come up short. But for you may look at yourself in terms of strength, in terms of authority or control, below the lion, but David actually says you're above, because the lion suffers want or hunger, but for you can be sure that you will be provided for. So as strong as a lion is, as powerful as a lion is, as much territory as it controls, it's still not sure of its next meal. Yes, it's going out to hunt, but it can't say, you know what, yes, this time I go out, I am going to get exactly what I need. It's not certain. But for you can be sure that God will provide as promised. The young lion suffers want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord, those who fear the Lord, those who trust the Lord, lack no good thing. So if you fear the Lord, you're actually in a better position than the lion. The animal that we look at to be so strong, when you think about authority and royalty, I wouldn't think the royals, they lack anything because of their position. The lion, you wouldn't think the lion's going to lack anything because of its position in the field. But David says they suffer want and hunger. But if you seek the Lord, you will lack no good thing. So fear him. Why? because you will want for nothing. But we can't skip out on the prerequisite here. But those who fear the Lord lack no good thing. It doesn't just say you will lack no good thing. There's something you have to do first. First, you must fear the Lord. If you don't fear the Lord, then that certain provision isn't for you. But if you fear the Lord, you will lack no good thing. If you seek after the Lord, you will lack no good thing. So, as things stand in your life right now, are you secure? Are you guaranteed security as things are right now? Are you satisfied where you are right now? Can you guarantee satisfaction every day, right now? Are you sure? Are you sure that your needs will be met as things stand right now? And as I explained earlier, when it comes to giving over your hard-earned cash, it's not an easy thing, and even harder to give over your life. But giving over control, although it's a huge sacrifice, the value far exceeds the cost. If you trust God, you can be secure. If you trust God, if you fear God, you can be satisfied. And if you fear God, if you trust God, you can be sure.